This may be our darkest hour, but it will be your greatest moment.
In today's video, we'll be covering basic mechanics of Diablo II Resurrected.
Fear me. You're too late.
The first mechanic we will cover is one of the most important because it is the least intuitive, and a lot of people, if you're not aware of it, will completely misunderstand how the game operates. And this mechanic is commonly referred to as breakpoints. And breakpoints, without going into too much detail, are the amount of faster block rate, faster cast rate, faster hit recovery, and increased attack speed that you need to actually impact how quickly your character can make an action. And this is because Diablo 2, since it was built with 2D graphics, it operates at 25 frames per second. And so, until you hit certain breakpoints by increasing your speed, you will actually not do anything faster or quicker until hitting these breakpoints. And that's because it requires a certain number to actually remove a frame from the animation. And if you want to know what these breakpoints are, I would recommend looking them up because they vary by character and sometimes by skill. There's a lot of variables at play. And increased attack speed, you actually need a calculator to fully calculate. But they are out there and you can look those up. Next, we'll be covering the stats and attributes found in the character sheet. The 4 stats in Diablo 2 are strength, dexterity, vitality, and energy. You get 5 stat points per level every time you level up, and an additional 15 points from quests, bringing the maximum total stat points a level 99 character could have to 510. Strength is a requirement for armor as well as weapons, and it also increases your damage by 1% of your weapon's damage. Dexterity is also a requirement for certain weapons, and it also affects your attack rating, which is your chance to hit enemies. It also affects your armor class, which is your chance to avoid being hit by enemies. And it also affects your block chance if you have a shield equipped. Vitality determines your life total and your stamina total, and each class gains a different amount of life per point of vitality. Barbarians gain the most with 4 life per point. Amazon, Assassins, and Paladins all gain 3 per point. Druids, Necromancers, and Sorceresses gain the least with 2 per point. And stamina is basically negligible by the time you reach the end of the game. The final stat is energy, and energy determines your total amount of mana, and it also varies by class, with sorceresses gaining the most, along with necromancers and druids with 2 mana per point of energy, assassins gaining 1.75 per point of energy, and paladins and amazons gaining 1.5 point per energy, and barbarians gaining the least with 1 mana per point of energy. And attack rating maxes out at a 95% chance to hit, with a minimum of 5% chance to hit. And this is affected by your dexterity, as well as any bonus to attack rating you have, and is also affected by your character level versus the monster level, and some classes have an inherent bonus as well. And now armor class, also known as defense, works in a similar way, where you have a minimum of a 5% chance to be hit by monsters and a maximum of 95% chance to be hit by monsters. Finally, we come to resistances. In normal, you have a base resist of 0%, in nightmare, -40%, and hell, -100%. So in hell, if you have no bonus resist, you will be taking double damage from elemental and poison attacks. The maximum resists you can have are 75%, and this is somewhat difficult to achieve for all resists. And there is also certain gear in the game that will give you absorption to certain damage types, which will heal you if you are hit by that damage type. These items are very good for PvP or for certain areas in the game. And if you are dual wielding, you will have an attack rating, attack speed, and damage for each weapon. You also receive an attack speed bonus for dual wielding. And the attack speed bonus for dual wielding is 15%. Next up, blocking has a cap of 75% chance to block. This is usually attainable fairly easily by paladins, but does require a bit of an investment for other characters to cap, so typically they will not reach max block. And one caveat to blocking is that if you are running, you have only 1/3 of your max block chance applied. So to receive your maximum block, you need to be standing still or walking. And to reach max block does require around 140 points in dexterity with Paladin, with all his buffs and shield bonuses applied. For comparison, a level 91 Amazon using a storm shield would need about 205 points in dexterity to get max block. The final mechanic we're going to talk about today is block and hit recovery, also known as hit stun. So in Diablo 2, when you take a hit that deals more than about 8% or 1/12 of your max life, you will be put into a hit stun, which is a pretty significant delay before you can move or take any action. And we've touched a little bit about this before, talking about the breakpoints. And block stun is also similar, except you won't take damage from the block stun, but it will put you into a stun lock like state where you also cannot move or cast spells or attack or use other abilities. So having recovery to get out of these stun frames is important, because when you are surrounded by enemies that are constantly stunning you, you will get stuck and die, almost guaranteed. And that's going to wrap it up for this video.